Hi, everybody. Erica Robinson from In the Company of Cards back again. Thank you so much. I have reached and surpassed the 2,000 subscriber mark. That's exciting and unexpected and just really gratifying. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. If you're new here, and you may very well be since the numbers have shot up, I use Lenormand to predict and comment on, national and international events, on political and social issues. I am, for myself, I am left of center, just so you know. I am a Harris supporter, in case you don't know. So if you are Harris curious, or if you are, you know, uh, if that side of the aisle appeals to you, welcome. If you are, if you are of the other persuasion, you are welcome to watch and listen and maybe be swayed. But if you're here for other less positive purposes, this is not for you. Okay. At any rate, welcome to those of you who are here. I am the author of uh, Erica's Lenormand of Hope. This is the deck that I use to read Lenormand for you. And then I'm also the author of The Language of Lenormand, which is the book that can teach you how to read the system that I read. Um, uh, Look what I did today. I voted. So if you have the opportunity to vote early, take advantage of it. I won't say what 45 would say, which is vote early and often, but he probably wouldn't say vote early. He would say wait until the day of. And I understand the appeal of waiting till the day of. It's kind of a traditional thing. But voting early is a good thing. We saw what happened in Georgia. I have said that I believe Georgia will be blue. And yesterday's turnout on the first day of early voting was, I think, something like triple what it had been previously. So, fill out your ballot, and if you can vote early, do it. It's a good feeling. Um, if you would like to see more of me, I am in conversation over on Denise Siegel's YouTube. It's spelled Siegal. She is a good friend of mine and an astrologer. And we had a long conversation yesterday. She split the video up into two parts. So if you go over to Denise Siegel, Siegal, you can see my conversation with her. I wanted to say that I have really enjoyed meeting some of you one-on-one through private readings. I know I had mentioned that I would be winding those down. I don't know that I will. I think that it's a nice way to make contact with viewers who'd like to see how Lenormand could conceivably function in their lives, giving them support, guidance. So I've met with individually some of you from all over the world, and it's been a delight and a pleasure. So if you are interested in a personal reading, go to the About thing on, on this video, and you will see how to do that. There's no booking link because, God, I do not want to wake up, on any given day and see that I'm swamped with readings because that's not how I work. But you are invited to send me an email, and from there, that's how we would do it. Readings are half an hour or they are an hour, and they are via good old dependable Zoom. Okay. Um, if you would like, share, subscribe. It's like a fun game to watch the numbers tick up. Okay. Um, there are three things that I thought I would look at today, and I'm understanding that people say that they prefer the shorter readings, although then I will have people who say, no, no, I like the long ones. But I'm trying to, not make them too long, even though I don't have a clock or a watch on my computer telling me how long I'm going. But, I'm going to try to keep it to half an hour or less. The first thing that I wanted to look at again, and all of these are sort of questions that I've looked at before, but oh, and one more reminder. I want to remind you that Kamala Harris's interview on Fox is today. I live on the West Coast, so for me, it will be on Fox at 3 p.m., which means if you are on the East Coast, it will be at 6 p.m. on Fox. And if you live in between the coasts, calculate accordingly. I think it will be good watching. I really do. And I've talked about that. I did a reading in my last video about how I thought that interview would go. Okay, so I want to look at the Texas race, and this is the Senate race between Colin Allred and Ted Cruz. I've read on this before, and as I'm always telling you, energy is mutable. Energy can change and shift. So what I see can change and shift as well. And there was a debate between Allred and Cruz last night. In the opinion of many, including myself, Allred wiped the floor with Cruz. I mean, I don't know why anybody would vote for Cruz anyway, unless you're just somebody committed to voting the straight red ticket. And, whatever, that's your business. But at the time that I looked at this before, I saw Texas not going blue. But Allred acquitted himself so admirably in that debate. I'd like to look at this again. So what we're looking at is the race between Colin Allred and Ted Cruz. It's a pivotal race because, as I've said before, and I will look at this again at another time, but I have said that I think that we will gain the House, but that we run the risk of losing the Senate. That would not be good. But if we can get Texas, maybe we won't have to lose the Senate. Okay. So we'll look at the race, and I'm going to use the card that I've been using so often, the card that I say is the most frustrating in Lenormand because it can be anything sort of in writing. But you see it on my wall there. It's the letter, and the letter will stand for votes. And I just would like to know what are the odds? What is the prospect of Texas going blue in their Senate race? Okay, so do you know I cut my left hand? You don't have to use your left hand, it's just habit. And then I check the bottom to make sure the card I'm looking for is not there. And then I just flip cards until I get the one I am looking for. And I said I'm looking for the letter, and that will stand for the Texas race. Okay, popped up pretty quick. So there's our letter. And then we have the two cards that precede it and the two cards that follow it. Okay, we have the tower, the star, the letter, the dog, and the mountain. I'm going to pull a couple of clarifiers on the card on the card that I'm like, which is the mountain. So I'm gonna pull. Okay, here's the deal. So we have the tower, the star, the letter, the dog, and the mountain. Don't love the mountain here, but I do love the clarifiers. So, this is sort of government as a whole as we move into the future. And it's kind of what I was saying, which is this race is like really pivotal. It could mean us keeping or losing the Senate. Okay. Oh, let me button my shirt because I don't need to give everybody a show. Okay. And then this is the race. This is that Texas race. You know, not for nothing, as we used to say when I lived in Jersey, this is lawyers. This is lawyers. And as we already know, as I've said to you, I've warned you many, many times, do not think that you're going to stay up late on Tuesday the 5th and know what the outcome of these elections will be, because you won't. Nor will you know it the next day on the 6th when you wake up on that Wednesday. Some of these will take some days, and I suspect Texas could be one of those, with challenges and things, right? And counting and all of that. So there will be a delay. Okay. But then I decided, well, let me just, take the bull by the horns and look at this mountain. It is the card for delay, for blocks. So I'm thinking, oh, does that mean that we are blocked from turning that seat blue? The clarifiers say otherwise. Clarifiers are the key, the young woman, and the crossroads. I think it's pretty clear, even if you don't read Lenormand, the key to sort of blasting a hole through this impediment, this block from keeping the seat, blue. Um, the answer to that is women, and women deciding to go in a different way from perhaps their spouses, their daddies, going a different way. I believe that uh, Colin Allred did very well on that question, by the way, the choice question. I think that if the seat is going to be turned, it will be women who come out. And not just young women, but people, women who care about the health and safety of young women, and men who care about that. So vote, 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 because that seat hinges on that particular demographic coming out to vote. And I think that they will do that. Okay, so that was the first question. That was quick. The second question that I want to look at is 45's health. Now, I have read on this often. I understand that. And I also said that, here we are a day past the Ides of October. I said that I thought in the second or third week of October, there would be a precipitous decline in the health of 45. I theorized that it could be a cardiac event or a cerebral event, or speaking of cerebral event, it could be a serious mental just falling off. And we have seen that. If you watched the town hall slash concert the other day, um, I mean, for 39 minutes, we listened to his playlist full of songs that he did not have permission to play. If you saw him at that economic interview, he was inaccurate, disconnected, and insulting. And to these mainstream, economists, I mean, it was a train wreck. Um, he seems disoriented. Uh, there's all kinds of speculation. I'm not the first reader to say his mental health has declined, nor am I the first to say that his physical health has declined. People have opined that perhaps, and again, what do they call it? What am I supposed to say? Entertainment purposes only, YouTube. People have opined that certain substances, which he may have had free access to over years, have started to take a toll on certain systems in his body, be they the liver or, um, you know, uh, I mean, we won't even talk about the incontinence issue, because that's a whole nother thing. But, anytime you're on a medication long term, there can be a point at which the bad part outweighs the good. And I think he's at that point. He doesn't sleep, we know that. Sometimes he seems quite hopped up, sometimes he seems very lethargic. There's been a lot of talk over the years about whether Adderall is something that he takes with his daily Coke and cheeseburger. That can have a law of diminishing returns, is that's what I'm trying to say, is that certain drugs, if you take them for too long a period, there's a law of diminishing returns. They start to hurt more than they help. I would like to look at his health. Uh, and let's be really specific. Let's look to see whether there is some overuse of a drug involved that has precipitated his decline. There's a card for that in Lenormand, and it's the stars. Because in many Lenormand cards, it's not just one star, it's many stars. And so they look like little pills. So we will have the stars stand for whatever substance he may or may not be ingesting. And we want to look to see whether that's been, again, creating this law of diminishing returns. Okay. So we're looking for the star, and it stands for um, pills, Adderall or whatever. Again, please like, share, subscribe. Okay, here we go. So this is my star card. We have a big star, but there's also some little stars in there. So that's the card for pills. And I'm putting the two cards to the left and then the two cards to the right. Okay. And I will draw clarifiers, I think. Um, so, okay, and I think I'm just going to draw one clarifier per card, which is not my normal thing. But okay, so we have as our original line the bouquet, the heart, star, the clover, and the birds. Okay. Now, this line doesn't really speak to whether actually there is this law of diminishing return with whatever it is that he's taking. But what it is saying is that this drug has been a gift to him. It has made him voluble and expansive and talkative and to whatever degree charming in his meetings with people. So he has been given free access. Bouquet is like being gifted, probably courtesy of Doc Ronnie, entertainment purposes only. He's been given free reign with these drugs because they make him um, appear to be his most engaging, outgoing, charming self. But, you know, these drugs have an effect on the heart long term and other organs. Now, Clover is a great card. It's one of the cards that I call the happiness cards. But I've also said to you more than once about Clover that it is fleeting, it's ephemeral. To whatever extent it's been helpful, I think that this helpfulness has been outlived, and cut short. So I drew clarifiers. So here we are. He's been gifted this, whatever these substances are that he's taking. And it's clarified by the mountain. I think, with a lot of drugs, of course, the more you take, the more you need to take. It could be that his supply has been cut back and that will explain his confusion and his lethargy. is that he was taking so much, it might have been affecting the rest of his system. And so whoever's in charge of gifting him with this drug or these drugs has cut down on his supply. That would have an effect on his affect. Okay. Um, it could very well be that there are indeed cardiac issues that have come to light. And I think it's because probably of an overuse of this drug. Um, now, this is the pills. This is a woman. I'm wondering whether there is a woman health professional who is providing him with these drugs. Could be a nurse, could be a doctor, I don't know, but I think there is a woman who doses him. Not Melania. I think it's a healthcare person. Um, Now, Clover, remember, this is the Santa Claus card. This is great, but remember, it's ephemeral, fleeting, and eventually you have to pay the piper. There's a cost benefit analysis being done about the substances that he's taking. So in the long term, okay, they worked great. In the short term now, they're problematic. Um, and then there's a lot of talk about what this means. And the talk is emotional in nature. People are like, wait, what? Like, what? People are very disturbed about this. What's going on with him? And there's a lot of conversation about it. So, he's just getting more and more and more unhinged. Uh, Physically, he does not look good. I think I know he doesn't drink. Well, he doesn't drink, but entertainment purposes only. There are other drugs besides alcohol that are problematic here, um, and they are taking their toll. Now, in relation to that, this is the last question that I want to look at. I posited a theory because I saw it in the cards several videos ago, and I got some pushback, which is fine. I don't mind polite pushback at all. But my theory, according to the cards, was um, that the Republican Party, rather than yanking him, getting the hook and yanking him off the stage now, we are so close, right? That what they would try to do is just uh, ease him over the finish line, get him over the finish line. Now, why would they do that? Why would they keep him on? Because he's the draw, right? He's the one with the super fans. They call them Trumpers, not dancers. So they need him, even if he's just in effigy of himself, propped up. They need to push him over the finish line with the intention of, and when in the past video that I did, I talked about the number 25, with the intention of uh, instituting the 25th, or invoking the 25th Amendment, which is the amendment that says the current president, should he win, which he won't, the current president is unable to fulfill his duties due to physical or mental infirmities, and then the vice president takes over. I think that's the intention. And of course, when the vice president were to take over, if that were Vance, which it will not be, then the real people behind the power would be the Project 2025 people. So that's the plan. The thing is, they can't do it in advance. And so what I want to know is, they have to keep him propped up as long as they can these last 3 weeks. What I would like to know is, that how they'll say, what's that expression? If you have a coupon and they'll say it's non-transferable. Okay, well, pretend that we're talking about Trump voters. I would like to know whether they are transferable or non-transferable. Are they transferable to Vance and the Project 2025 set, right? Um, so I don't want to do a yes, no, but what I want to do is how would um, Trump supporters react to a Vance now being their leader? Um, how would they respond to that? So I think what I'm going to use is the garden, and the garden will stand for the Trump faithful. And I'm looking to see how they would react if their dear leader were, for whatever reason, supplanted and Vance were put in his place. How would they react? Would they go with the flow of that? Okay, so we're looking for the garden, and that's going to stand for the Trumpers and their allegiance. Is their allegiance going to prove transferable? Boy, this garden is deep in the deck. Woo, where is it? Did I pass it? No. It's the next to the last card, which means it's not going to be in the middle. Okay. So that means if it's the next to the last card, um, and I only have one card in my hand, I have to put three cards here and then the fourth there. Okay. I do not need clarifiers for this. We have the mountain, we have the tree, the snake, the garden, and the scythe. Okay, this is very clear. Again, the mountain, the tree, the snake. This is the Trump faithful, and the scythe. And the answer to the question is no. They will not, they are not transferable. Mm-mm. They are not transferable to Vance and Teal and Musk. They can, they can be strong-armed by Vance and Teal and Musk. Uh, you know, if 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 45 were to win, which he will not do, then everybody would just have to kind of go along to get along because but they it is not transferable. Their allegiance, they don't like him, nor do they like what's in Project 2025 any more than the rest of us do. Um, it would be a slow slog to get them on board, a slow and difficult slog. And look what's in the center. Remember, I said, statistically speaking, the card I'm looking for will be in the middle, but sometimes that doesn't happen, and you've seen that many times. But look what is in the middle, the snake. Even deluded, blindered, blinkered Trump people will see Vance and Teal and Musk and everybody else with the Project 2025 as not good, as problematic. That is how they will see them and want no part of them. I'm not saying that they would go blue, but they definitely would not be all in for Vance and Project 2025 and company in the way that they have been all in for Trump. And which makes the case that what we're looking at with Trump, it is a cult of personality. And that tends not to be transferable to whoever the next leader is, especially when he's not Trumpy, in that charismatic way, in that rich guy, golden staircase, flamboyant, say whatever way. Vance is not that guy. So I think that's good news for us all the way around. I think that that means that there would be hope for those poor deluded people who have drunk the Kool-Aid of 45 when there is no more Kool-Aid and they're being offered, I don't know, 20, 25 store brand Kool-Aid, they're not going to like the taste of it. And they're going to look to see what else is out there, what's available. So we need to be warm and welcoming when they come in from the cold, because I think a lot of them will come in from the cold. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks so much. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.